balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. I am your host, Rick. Boy, have I got a good one for you tonight. I've got John. He's waiting in the green room right now. I can see him. He's kind of chuckling. He's having a blast and a ball. But before I get into that, let me go ahead and get a couple of things out of the way. Of course, number one is our Pledge of Allegiance. So if you would, please, and I just realized I don't think I switched that over to the next person. Stand by 1 second. Boy, I don't like when I do this. I was trying to get there, I'm telling you. All right, there we go. So we're going to go with that. All right, so tonight's Pledge of Allegiance is going to be led by G. And so G, if you wouldn't mind to go ahead and, get yourself all ready. No, I'm just kidding. It's a recording. But anyway, if you don't mind, everyone else, please stand, remove your hats if you're wearing one like me. Otherwise, place your hand over your heart and let's join in with G in the recitation of the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, G. I do appreciate that. And hey, if you would like to hear your rendition of the Pledge of Allegiance done here on the program, it's really very simple. All you have to do is record yourself performing the pledge in your style. Then take that audio file, attach it to an email, and send it off to me at fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. That's fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. And I will get you into the rotation. All right, tonight, of course, is
Down to business.
That's the nectar of the gods, baby.
It is Whiskey Wednesday. It's like Taco Tuesday, but for badasses. And tonight, I am drinking my Henry McKenna, 10 years aged, Kentucky straight bourbon. And I know Bonnie's gonna yell at me because I'm not like doing an actual, at least according to her, an actual bourbon, but that's okay. She always yells at me whenever I drink something that's a little off label. So there you go. All right. So you guys all know that I am trying a few newer-ish segments. One of them, of course, is, see, I just got it. Bonnie's like, she's already there. What the heck, Rick? I told you she was going to. But anyway, I'm doing new segments, and one of them, of course, is highlighting America. Now, my vision for this segment, of course, is to bring in things and people, interesting people, topics, stories, whatever, about America itself and how America is doing well, how we're doing fantastic. It's to highlight, of course, the good things about America. And one of the greatest things that we have here about America is small business and entrepreneurial spirit. I've got a gentleman. Now, you all know that I advertise for TGRN here on the program. Yes, there it is. Okay. And there's a reason for that. Now, I'm going to tell you, John has been doing small business and entrepreneurial stuff for as long as I've known him, which is pretty close to like 20 years or more. We can't even figure out what the actual date is. We just really don't even know when we first met each other, but that's okay. So I'm going to bring John on really quick. Like I said, he's a small business and entrepreneurial spirit. He's a fantastic guy. I think you guys are really going to love him. And he's got some great tunes that he plays too on his show. We might get into that during the interview. But before I get to that, of course, I've got to let you all know that it's tonight's Highlighting America. All right, there he is, Jonathan Oogie Richards. There he is. I just unmuted you. Sorry, sir, if you said something.
How you doing, pal?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm excellent. Thanks for having me.
Oh, well, I appreciate...
Thanks for all the support, man. I appreciate that.
Well, you know, I mean, kind of have to. I mean, it's a...
You don't have to, but
well,
you've been amazing.
This is a fantastic glass. It's got some fantastic whiskey in it, and of course, like I haven't seen 3 Chevy yet, but 3 Chevy usually says it takes stones to drink with whiskey, meaning me, not the actual like thing. But there they are. They're down in the bottom of the glass.
Attaboy.
Good stuff. All right, so let's go ahead and get this thing kicked off here. I described you, obviously, in my introduction as a small business owner and entrepreneur. So if you don't mind, just give us a rundown. What have you got going on? What are all your endeavors that you're involved in?
Yeah, you bet. Well, as you know, Rick, you and I are involved with digital radio broadcast and entertainment. I've been involved 30 plus years in radio. And, you know, the evolution of radio certainly has come a long way. And we'll talk a little bit later on, you know, the trends and what's happened there with terrestrial radio. But, yeah, digital radio, broadcast, and entertainment. And then I'm also involved with intelligent building infrastructure for commercial and industrial facilities, providing comfort, safety, and security, and all the infrastructure that it takes to run those systems. So very active in the business community, both from a radio entertainment and commercial and, you know, commercial applications for, you know, every business across America today.
Yeah. Now, you've had a long career in radio, and we'll get to that in just a few minutes. But I want to ask you, you know, after COVID in particular, and I'm kind of going in order here of your
Sure.
things here, but after COVID, there was a spate of new business applications. The Biden administration couldn't repeat it more often than possible, that there's just like been more than any on record. As a small business owner and an entrepreneur, if one of my listeners, viewers, whatever, were looking to start a business, what would be one of your pieces of best, just 1 or 2 or 3 pieces of really your best advice to give to someone that's thinking of doing that?
Well, proper research, you know, understand the business market you're entering, understand the trends and the market size and potential, certainly understand your competition and what you bring that's unique to that marketplace, right? What separates you from your competitors? You know, being a business owner certainly is not for the faint of heart. But if you're truly passionate and love the industry you're involved with, those long days, short weekends, and the sacrifices that you make definitely bring a smile to your face. I can't tell you how many late nights, you know, I'm working on a project, working on, you know, a variety of different tasks. And I absolutely get a smile knowing that my competition ain't doing what I'm doing, or not many of them. And I'm putting in the work, the effort that makes it happen, right? You know, you got to build a team around you to execute on key elements of your operation, and then make sure you empower them, right, to run their parts of the business. That'll allow you to lead and innovate and grow your business. So important. You know, a business owner, it's your baby, right? You get wrapped around the axle sometimes. You got to let it go. You got to cut it loose. You hire the right people to do the job. Empower them to do it and get out of their way. Support them. Allows you to get out in front of the business and do what you do as a business owner. But, you know, most importantly, you got to get started. Don't delay your dream. You know, Rick, you and I have talked about that for a long time. Your dream, it won't chase you. You got to chase it.
So toward that end, I mean, well, you and I both know, both of us burn the candle sometimes at both ends.
It is.
But you know, what if you were going to suggest to somebody to starting it, what do you think Do you think you would recommend, I mean, obviously not cutting the complete safety net, but, doing it maybe as a part-time business, part-time basis, something, on the side kind of thing until it grows into something major?
Yeah, everybody's got a side hustle these days, right? Or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, right? So, how bad of a burn do you have to go live a dream, right?
Right.
What are you willing to do to sacrifice? Again, long hours. I can't tell you how many professional jobs I've had working long hours during the day, and I couldn't wait to get home from my 9 to 5 to put in the real work behind my dreams and efforts. And I did that for decades until I finally became to a point where I am truly living the American dream. I work for myself, and it's a beautiful thing. It's absolutely, it brings a smile and a skip to my step every day. Yeah, it's a grind. There are things as a business owner, especially a small business owner, that you don't have from a big corporation perspective. I was talking to a client today where, they marshaled a very large team to do a big task in a short amount of time. And I thought to myself, man, I remember those days when I had, 20 people around a conference room being able to execute on a body of work that needed to get out the door real quick. I don't have that luxury right now, but I still smile and go, hey, you know what? There's 3 of us and we'll get it done. We'll work 24/7 to make sure we get that task done and accomplished, right? So, again, working, how bad do you want it? What's your dream work to you? Are you willing to put in the time? You're willing to put in the sacrifice?
Right.
It's a gut check.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you're well aware, and I think that most of my listeners are well aware, I mean, I started this podcast a little over 4 years ago and turned it into I actually have now, under your encouragement, a video media kind of business that sort of covers this up. All of my listeners, they see it at the end whenever it goes. It's, Active Eye Media goes. But the thing about it is, I think, in terms of like starting a new business, you just have to understand there is going to be a lot of pain in the process at times. It's not something that's easy. And most people think that, you can just go out and get a business, start a business, and all of a sudden the money starts flowing in. I don't know about you, but I'm sure it's happened. Yeah.
I've not experienced that right off the bat, but again, listen, if it's a big enough burn for you, and you have a good idea, or have a way to approach a market segment that needs your service, your product, your innovation, go for it. Don't analysis or paralysis by analysis is a real thing, right? Don't get wrapped around the axle. Just get started. It could be as simple as putting it on paper, and I think there's something magic about writing it down, and then speaking to it and getting a close circle around you of those who believe in your mission, your vision of what it is that you want to bring to market. And I think that, again, there's something magical that happens when you write it down and you surround yourself with just a couple of believers. It just takes a couple of you to get started. And no matter how you get started, no matter how rough it is in the beginning, trying to figure it all out, I promise you, if you want it bad enough, you'll get it figured out, and you'll attract those to come around you that will help fill in the gaps of your business, parts of your business that maybe it's running your books, maybe it's graphic creation. No matter what, the 1,000 different things it takes to run and run a business, you'll attract those people who have those certain skill sets that'll help you along the way. And we certainly have experienced that here at TGRN. No question about it.
Yeah, no. So let me ask you your opinion on this. It may or may not be a yes or no answer. But do you think there's an age limit on somebody starting a new business?
No way. Absolutely not. I'm 55. For most of my, as you talked about earlier, I've been around startup businesses my entire life. I have run small businesses. I've owned multiple businesses. And I've also worked for, the Fortune 50. I've worked for some of the biggest global companies in the world. And I can tell you that I've experienced folks that I have been around, have managed, have watched grow, and taken the leap of faith in whether they were young, middle-aged, or at so quote unquote retirement age. You know what? Listen, if you've got you got the dream and you've got the energy, there isn't a wrong age to get started. Just do it.
I like that. Just do it. Well, of course, Nike already took that.
Sorry, they coined that, but you know what I mean. It's simple. Just get on with it. Go for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so we just had a huge election. All right. And I know it's kind of early. Considering how long you've been in the business world and your entrepreneurial spirit and everything, do you see anything from the forthcoming administration in terms of some of the policies that they put out, anything like that you think would specifically impact small and newly opened businesses?
Well, America was built on a free enterprise system, right? I see the next administration optimizing regulations across all sectors, cutting red tape that'll foster new business and accelerate existing businesses, improving the tax codes that aren't punitive to business, and stimulating our economy by getting inflation under control, and as we heard today, cutting wasteful government programs. I can't wait to see it. The news today, the news cycle was insane today, right? If you were paying attention, it seemed like about every, 25, 30 minutes, there was another, Trump bomb dropped on the world. So, as a business owner, I'm really excited because, you got a proven administration coming in that it will absolutely foster investment and growth and, profitability, putting American interest first. So I am really excited about it. And, being here in Texas, I chose Texas. I relocated here 5 years ago from the Pacific Northwest. And, we're the 8th largest economy in the world. Texas does what Texas does, no matter who's in the White House, right? So the growth that we're experiencing here from an economy perspective is absolutely tremendous. In fact, I've never seen anything like it in all of the years I've been in business. So I'm excited to be here in this economy, but I see it across America, and I talk to my manufacturer partners. I talk to my competitors across the country, and there's an air of optimism like I've never heard before. Leading up to the election, there are a lot of projects that were kind of put on pause, and we're obviously waiting to see what happened. And after the election results, I tell you, there's a buzz in the business community that is very exciting.
Well, that's also reflected in terms of Wall Street, because I don't know if you watch the stock market, but man, November 6th, when it was announced that he was potentially going to be the win, man, whew, boy, it just jumped from, what was it? I think 600 points immediately upon opening, and then an additional overall total for that day, like 1,500 points. Or something along those lines. Yeah, I think the businesses are excited.
Yeah, there is. I mean, there are certainly some challenges that we're going to have to overcome. We're going to have to right the ship, right? There's a lot to undo and address, but I'm confident that this next administration has focus. More importantly, has the talent and the ability to execute for the next 4 years that will really put America in the greatest position possible.
All right, so let's shift gears just a slight bit and let's grab onto your dream. your desired thing to do, because as I kind of alluded to, you know, you're in radio for 30 years, longer than I've known you for sure. And so let's focus on True Grit Roots Network for just a moment. Now, obviously, I mean, I do the headliner spot every Wednesday is yours. And so, you know, that's one of the things that I do. And then you also get other spots throughout the week whenever it's available. But let's go ahead and just take a look at True Grit Roots Network. Why don't you tell us the story from your perspective in terms of how did TGRN come about?
You bet. Well, as you said, you know, I've been involved with radio and music entertainment for over 3 decades. You know, as the consolidation of terrestrial radio occurred over the last decade, roots music has disappeared at an alarming rate. So we saw a need to provide a variety of roots-based music programming. And we started with the blues, which is where I got my start on radio broadcast. I fell in love with the music. I fell in love with the history of the genre and the artists who paved the path for modern roots music, right? Muddy Waters said it best. The blues had a baby and they called it rock and roll. So, you know, for us here at, you know, True Roots Network, you know, it's a big umbrella of roots music, right? So coming January 2025, you know, we're going to be enhancing our current programming with rock and roll. And then we'll also be announcing, you know, a blues rock icon who's going to join us for the signature channel. So you know, this is a person who travels the world and has been making music for, you know, 50 plus years. Somebody who has the experience, the relationships, and this knowledge. He was a part of, you know, this, you know, the rock and roll movement. And so we're really excited to be able to bring this icon on board, to be able to share his passion, his knowledge, his relationships across rock and roll and blues that will really turn up what we're doing here at TGRN. And then in later this year, targeting to March-ish, we'll be rolling out another signature channel with the hardest working man in outlaw country today. Really excited about that as well. So, what, you know, our relationships within the roots community and those very artists who have made it and made the scene what it is today, have the relationships with, all of the folks, so the folks that are still playing the door, to those who have won the Grammys and have done, you know, amazing things with their careers. We're involved with that scene, and I'm really excited to be able to bring that to the world through TGRN.
So just to clarify what you said, because as of right now, we have TGRN Blues. That is revamping into a blues rock mix. Is that correct?
You heard that. You heard that correct.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Just wanted to make sure, because, making absolutely certain. So TGRN Blues will kind of morph into a signature channel combining blues and rock. Well, not necessarily rock completely, but just blues rock kind of connections. You're gonna hear great 70s rock to, you know, the current artist, right? You'll hear a great mix of rock and roll. And again, like Muddy Waters said, blues had a baby and they called it rock and roll. So there is an absolute place for the blues to live and thrive in this new environment. All right, so all of my Whiskey Warrior P1s out there, and anybody else that's listening, okay, you guys been calling for more rock on the channel. Here you go, right here. January 2025 is when it's going to get rolled out, and the merriment will commence, let's just say. And then
the party will begin.
Yeah, and then for those of you who are like myself, more of a let's say country music fan, then we've got springtime is our time for an additional signature channel that comes out.
I'm really excited about that channel. I tell you what, while I cut my teeth in blues, I was talking about it. I had a Zoom call the other day with some buddies, and we were talking about the influences when we were young and, you know, what led us to, you know, the blues and blues rock. And I can remember listening to Led Zeppelin with my dad when I was, like my first memories of music, and it was off an 8-track, right? And then, vinyl in his collection in the home, right? So I move forward all these years. I'm like, well, yeah, I love the music. And, in my teens, right, I was listening to Hank Williams Jr., to Van Halen, to Led Zeppelin, to Robert Plant, all this mix of music. And, I noticed that I gravitated towards artists who had a country blues rock theme underbed to their music, right? So for me, it's been a discovery of music, and I'm really excited about the Outlaw channel, because we'll be able to bring, the true outlaws, the pioneers of kind of the outlaw movement, Waylon and Willie and the gang, so to speak, right? All the Hanks, to the current artists today. It won't be. I won't. I'll say this nicely to if my wife is watching. It won't be her pretty boy country music we're playing. This is gonna be the hardcore, the real stuff that it moves me. That absolutely puts a flag in the ground and says, yeah, here we are, baby. Let's embrace our roots and the American way. So really excited about what we're going to do with the Outlaw channel.
Yeah, you hit 3 Chevy. 3 Chevy says, Oogie, does outlaw mean Waylon? Yeah, it is, you said. So
Waylon Wednesdays. Come on.
Waylon Wednesdays. Hey, there we go. We could have Waylon's Whiskey Wednesdays or something, or Whiskey's Waylon Wednesdays. I don't know. Anyway.
And you'll learn that our signature artist who is joining us actually had a relationship with Waylon Jennings. So there'll be some stories that are truly moving, truly incredible, and inspiring that we'll be able to share throughout the broadcast week. It's really, again, and the same thing with our Blues Rock channel. These relationships are so critical and so important, and some of these. Some of the folks are, some of them are gone. Some of them are still hanging on. And then we've got a whole new generation of folks coming up. So the whole mix is going to be involved on both channels.
I'm sure you already know this, but I'm going to throw it out there and toss it out there anyway. Shooter Jennings, who is Waylon Jennings' offspring, has done a collaboration with none other than James Woods. And James Woods has actually written the songs. Shooter is singing them, and they've put out an album. They've been leaking it here recently. They've been dropping singles and things like that and making it available on all digital outlets. So there might be an opportunity to kind of bring that in as well. That could be something to look at if you haven't already. I'm sure you have, though. I mean, shoot.
Yep, no question about it. The collaborations that are happening in outlaw music today are incredible to me. I could go down a whole rabbit hole, talk about the Jennings family and stuff that I've been hip to for the last few years that now are starting to become mainstream popularity. I can't wait to unveil the Outlaw channel. It's gonna be super cool.
All right, perfect. Well, I'm excited for it too, for various
for obvious reasons. Yes, exactly.
All right, so now you've obviously been paying a lot of attention into digital radio itself. So let me ask you this: what do you feel because of? I know how you feel, but I'm just throwing it out there anyway, just so you can answer it for my listeners and watchers. What is the difference and what makes one better or worse between digital radio and terrestrial radio?
Well, I can speak to digital radio. It's easy to take with you throughout your day. From your morning start at home, your commute, on the job, running errands, or just enjoying your leisure time, right? The mobility, the ease of access across nearly every electronic platform available. You're one click away to having great content the way you want it. And so for me, from a digital perspective, I'm not limited to, a transist, the FM single or the AM single, in my neighborhood or my, zip code, right? So I can take my programming anywhere I go, essentially in the world, and I can have it. We all carry this digital device around. All my content today is driven by my phone, right? I have all of my content, everything that I appreciate and want to listen to or watch. I drive it from my phone.
Okay. And so that's
my digital key to entertainment.
So let me ask you this then. I mean, is there like a legal difference between the FCC's terrestrial radio and what you're planning on doing or what you are doing with True Grit?
Yeah, well, for sure. I mean, right now the FCC doesn't have their mitts in digital broadcast. For us, right, we still have a responsibility for music licensing and royalties to ensure that those are paid for the artist. So we utilize a service that captures that metadata, and so we're compliant for music licensing and royalties across America, Canada, and the UK. And then we're leveraging platforms with some of our unique content broadcasts with through YouTube and Spotify that opens up to other countries as well. So yeah, and then from just a free spirit, freewheeling perspective, if someone drops the F-bomb, I don't have to hit the dump button like I used to in terrestrial radio. There, from time to time, we have artists who like to express themselves in a fun, engaging way, and occasionally, an F-bomb or something will slip out, and we're fine with that. That happens.
Yep.
It's normal conversation.
So, longtime listener and Whiskey Warrior P1, Buddy Weiser has asked, Junior Brown?
Oh, yeah. Come on.
All right. So there you go, buddy. He's going to have Junior Brown on it. Well, you're going to be converting my my listeners to TGRN Roots listeners, man. I'm going to be stuck with like nobody watching this channel. Anyway,
we'll do a listen party on your show, pal.
Oh, there you go. If it weren't for the fact that YouTube had cut me off, communists. Anyway, sorry, that was bad. All right, so you're a multi-award-winning, man, I can't get that out. I got to drink another drink. On-air personality in your own right within the blues genre. What are some of your best memories in your entire career that you can think of thus far?
Yeah, well, certainly meeting some blues music icons. I was very fortunate to meet B.B. King, met John Lee Hooker. I've met Buddy Guy multiple times. I got to have dinner with Jimi Hendrix's father, Al. What a total trip. In fact, about a month or so later, I got to introduce Al Hendrix to John Lee Hooker in a green room. Those are some pretty cool, notable moments. But you know what? For me, after 30 plus years, probably the most important thing are the relationships that I've developed along the way, right? And that's with artists, it's with DJs, and it's with the fans, it's with the community. And I just fell in love with the music and the community, that ecosystem that makes up, blues. And, now I'm, immersing myself in outlaw country and rock and roll, right? So it's the relationships to me that are the most important part. And man, it's cool to be recognized by, fans and colleagues for your work, and certainly, those were fun, exciting moments, throughout my my journey. But it's not about the awards, man. It's not about any of that stuff. It for me, I love sharing music. If I can turn somebody on to a song or to an artist that makes their day better or helps them get along through whatever situation they're going through in life, that's a win. That's what really turns me on. I dig that.
All right, so I know that you do Mighty Mouth Blues, okay, on TGRN.
Yep.
Is that going to continue?
Yeah, Mighty Mouth Blues. I'll always have a blues radio show for sure, no matter what I do. I do a day. Once a week, I do a Blue Plate special during the afternoon. I do a Sunday morning show that is so relaxed, so stripped down. As you could probably tell by our conversation, I got a lot of energy. I'm jacked up. I'm ready to go. I have fun at what I do. The Sunday morning show is totally so relaxed, so cool. I just ease you into your day. Listen, if you send it hard on Saturday night, show up with a fistful of Tylenol and some water, and I got the soundtrack to bring you back to life. So I enjoy that. I'm looking forward to doing an outlaw show for sure. I was doing it. I did a kind of a trial run a couple of years ago. Loved it. Got a great idea of bringing old school outlaw and kind of the new artist. A lot of folks that haven't been discovered yet. So I'll be working on that as well. So I'm excited about that. So you'll definitely hear my voice on the channels for sure.
Perfect. All right. So I have one last question for you, and this could be where you and I are gonna I don't know if we're gonna end up. I'm gonna have to defend myself from you or something here, but I need to ask this question.
All right.
When you're listening to music, are you a purist and love the vinyl, or do you kind of lean more toward digital, or is it a mix?
Good question. So it's a mix. Depends on where I'm at, right? I'm on the road a lot, so I've got my digital connection always in play. But I'll tell you that there's something special about vinyl that just can't be replaced, and it's cool because a lot of artists now are putting vinyl out, which I really like. In fact, anytime I go to a show, I look for vinyl. I have my wife look for vinyl. We're like, hey, where's the record, man? In fact, if you could see it, I have a record player right behind me, and I've got 3 new albums that are new to me that I and one that I haven't played yet that I can't wait to spin. So I'm totally a vinyl junkie now. In fact, I even got my 10-year-old granddaughter collecting vinyl now too. She's got a record player in her room, and in fact, I just gifted her. I had an artist friend of mine send his new record with it signed and the whole 9 yards. And I love vinyl. Vinyl is just old school cool, man. Can't beat it.
Yeah, well, my wife convinced me to get her a turntable last year for Christmas, and she's been hitting all of the, what do you call them, like secondhand stores or whatever. She's been hitting all those, been bringing home all kinds of albums and stuff. But most of her stuff is in she likes the 30s, 40s, 50s, sometimes 60s, maybe 70s. She's kind of in that realm of music across all of it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Now that's cool.
Yep.
Vinyl is something special. I wish that I could go back and kept vinyl from my father and my grandparents. I remember listening to records with my grandma as a little kid. It was the coolest thing ever. And she loved Elvis, so there was a lot of Elvis.
Oh yeah,
on Grandma's jukebox, right? It was the coolest thing. And in fact, I for the longest time, I had an old jukebox with the old 45s in it. Unfortunately, along the way, I moved quite a bit in my 20s and 30s, and it didn't quite make it. Didn't quite make it to Texas with me, unfortunately. But I hope that someday I'm able to, find an old jukebox with 45s and put it in my home and enjoy it with family and friends for sure.
Well, I think you and I are both going to be jealous here because Tommy over on Facebook just told me I still have a full-blown system complete with turntable, cassette, and we even have an 8-track player.
Tommy,
and the speakers boom it all out. Rock and roll, she says. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Now, it's kind of interesting. My dad was actually was an audiophile, and we actually had even reel-to-reel. Like we had reel-to-reel,
wow.
8-track. I mean, we had all of it.
Well, when I first got started in radio, I would edit in reel to reel, right? So in fact, I probably have a bag somewhere in my closet that it's made it with me over the 30 years that has, tape and chalk, and I probably could still splice.
Yep, the razor blades for the splicing.
Yep,
oh yeah,
exactly.
Dad had all that too.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you mentioned 45s. That was his kind of choice, I guess, was 45s. And man, he had a huge collection of all kinds of Elvis stuff. I have no idea where any of that went. After I left for the service, I have no idea what happened to it. And it's really kind of sad too, because we had all kinds of like stuff that I'm sure would be, classic, worth some kind of money today. But anyway. All right. Well, I do appreciate your time. Do me a favor. I'm going to give you the last whatever length of time you want to take. Why don't you tell them about your shows, when they're on, and anything else that you want to finish with? Go ahead.
Yeah, well, Rick, thank you so much. Thank you all for allowing me in and enjoying Wednesday with you. Is it Wednesday or is it Thursday?
No, it's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
You're
All
so
right.
busy, you don't even know what day it is.
Honest to God, it is nuts.
That's okay. The only time that I don't stream is on Sundays, so I tend to forget too.
Yeah, Sundays are usually my best work day because nobody's working, and so I get about 4 or 5 really focused hours. So, but yeah, hey, thank you so much for allowing me on. You want to check us out? The best way to do it is check out the website tgrn.net. There you can track along the progress on when we drop the enhancement to the channel in January, and of course the Outlaw channel coming, targeted for March of 2025. Check, if you like the blues, or even kind of think you like the blues, or you don't know what the blues is, come on, check it out. I'll take it easy on you. We have a good time every Tuesday and Saturday, 8 to 10 p.m. Central, right here on TGRM. You can find me doing my thing Sunday morning. Hey, listen, you don't gotta like the blues, but if you have the blues Sunday morning from a good Saturday night, I promise you I'll ease you into good health with a great blend of blues, soul, and R&B. It's a really cool groove that get your days started. And again, thank you all for allowing me to take some time to visit with you all. It's been very cool, Rick. So happy for you and what you're doing here, and looking forward to many great years to come with TGRN. And at some point we'll have TGRN talk, and Rick, you'll be a big part of that.
Oh, folks, no, let's we'll see when that happens, man. Don't get me all excited here. All right. Have a great rest of your evening, John. Thank you very much for joining, and take care, man.
Hey, thank you very much, y'all.
Right.
Have a great night.
Bye. All right, folks, that was Jonathan Oogie Richards for you right there. Hope you guys enjoyed that interview. I had a good time. You really need to, seriously, you need to check out TGRN and take a look and see what is... I have no idea what's happening here. But anyway, you can go to tgrn.net and check it all out, and check out Oogie's shows. He does a fantastic, fantastic job, okay? All right, so let's get into, in our final 45, let's get into this fantastic, wonderful news. I'm telling you, this is some fantastic news. Trump has been adding... oh my gosh, he has been adding all kinds of people, and let me tell you, the left is going absolutely nuts over it. I got some of that, but I also have too, as well, I have a little bit of what's happening with the mainstream media. They're finding out that they've been effing around, and they're finding out. So, first of all, let me go ahead and jump on over, and by the way, too, I do have a pet of the week for tonight as well. But let's jump over to this. Take a look at this in the Daily Fetch. Jackass Smith. All right. Jackass Smith. Can I say that again? Jackass Smith is decided, or has decided, to resign to avoid the embarrassment of being fired by Donald Trump. So if you think that whole thing with him and Judge Chutkin and everything else is going to move forward, yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. So, yeah, that's just fantastic. He's apparently planning to resign his post before President-elect Donald Trump is inaugurated in January. And apparently he has until December, I don't know if it's December 2nd or December 20th. Hang on. Yeah. So he has to, December 2nd. So he has to submit a summary of the case by December 2nd, moving forward. So that is just fantastic. He's got to put that in December 2nd. I'm sure once that's done and he's finished, he's going to freaking just go off and hopefully fade off into historical obscurity, head back to The Hague and do his BS over there and elsewhere and quit being a freaking, hitman or potential hitman, a failed hitman for it. Okay. All right. So lots of things have happened in terms of, things. I'm telling you, man, I'm telling you, I am drinking literally from a fire hose on a lot of this stuff. Okay. Lot of stuff on all of this. The first things, of course, is that Senator John Thune, and I don't have a thing up for this. Oh, wait. Yes, I do. Sort of. No. So Senator John Thune has taken the lead in the Senate Majority Leader, replacing Mitch McConnell. I'll be honest with you. I'm not entirely certain of his election. Okay, by secret ballot. I'm not entirely sure if that's going to be something major or not major or what the situation is as far as that goes. I'm just a little concerned about it, and only because I don't know if he is going to be good, not so good, or a rhino backstabber. That's just, I just don't know enough about him. I personally would have preferred Rick Scott, but apparently the way that this shook down is that they held their secret ballots today, and Rick Scott, after the first one, did not present a clear winner. Rick Scott decided to step out of that, and I think, my guess is, although I haven't seen anything on this in particular, but my guess is that Thune and Corman had the largest votes, or the maybe tie votes, and Rick Scott had the lesser of all of them. I don't think it was like an even three-way split, because I really think that if Rick Scott actually felt like he had a chance, that he would have stayed in it, but he decided not to. And so he either didn't get any votes, got very few votes, or something along those lines. So anyway, he decided to bow out, and it was shortly after that announcement that we ended up with John Thune, who's come in. But one of the things that has occurred, and this is really, really important when it comes to Trump's appointments, okay? So Trump's been going and nominating a bunch of people, and we'll get to that in just a minute. I mean, we already know several of them on the docket as of now, but he announced, I think, 3 or 4 today. One of the things that that is in play is this idea of appointing people to cabinet positions during a recess, okay? During a recess, and all 3 of those candidate appointees went ahead and did that. Here in the Epoch Times, Senate Majority Leader candidates agree to Trump's demand for recess appointments. Now, here's the thing, and this is why it's important, or maybe not so important, okay? You need to understand that the Constitution states that cabinet appointments, or what they call principal office appointments, can occur if Congress is in recess And if that occurs, that means that it basically sidesteps the whole Senate confirmation hearings. Okay? So the thing about it is that by saying that they would agree to that, that opens up the door for Trump to get some people in to their positions for the next 2 years, because once somebody ends up getting put into a position without going through Senate confirmation, Trump has that individual for 2 years before the next session comes up. Okay? And so that kind of thought process is going to make it to where people who may not necessarily pass the Senate confirmation process, or potentially could be ones that would drag on forever, it makes it so that Donald Trump can get his cabinet the way he wants, with the people that he wants, without having to worry about Senate confirmation hearings. Now, here's the thing, and this is part of the reason why this strategy could actually benefit us in the long run, which is essentially that we don't know necessarily what's going to happen in the midterms. Okay? And we only have, by the time you cut out all of the breaks and the recesses and everything else, we only actually have somewhere in the realm of, I think, like 150 to 180 days, realistically, over the next 2 years in order to get things in place. Okay? So by doing it this way, by setting it up so that the recess appointments can occur, Donald Trump will get the candidates and the appointees for his cabinet that he wants, but yet also avoids this long drawn-out process that the Senate could take in terms of confirmation hearings and possibly even kicking out somebody that Donald Trump actually wanted. Case in point, you have someone such as Matt Gaetz as a potential recommendation, which, by the way, 2 or 3 Republican senators have already come out and publicly said that they would not, and I say that seriously, would not vote for his confirmation. Okay? Now, the only thing that I can think of is that if John Thune is a rhino backstabber, he's going to go back on this agreement. And we'll find out pretty damn quickly where John Thune actually sits in regards to the Trump administration's direction and where he's going to be. Okay? So, this is important, all right, for this to happen. And that's because of the fact that we can get people in to the office quickly. And keep in mind, too, it may not necessarily have anything to do with whether or not a person would pass the confirmation hearing or not, or even be questionable. But it also, by doing it this way, it also ensures that if they do it this way, it also ensures that the cabinet can be placed quickly and Donald Trump can actually get to work as soon as possible. Okay, with his cabinet completely in place. Speaking of that cabinet, here in the Epic Times, and I highly recommend, by the way, that you go and grab this out of the show notes, because this is going to be updated every single time there is a new announcement, official announcement, in terms of who's coming in. So let's take a really quick look. We have 27 positions that are part of the cabinet, which, by the way, Trump added the 27th, which was the National Security Advisor, Mike Walls. Mike Walls wasn't originally a part of the cabinet, but Donald Trump has said that he is including him now, or the National Security Advisor, as part of his cabinet positions. So we have 27 that are on the board. 11 of them have been filled. And the most recent ones that are causing the left the biggest heartburn, realistically, is Pete Hegseth, Marco Rubio, not so much, but there was some questions on that. Tulsi Gabbard in particular, and Matt Gaetz as like the top one. In fact, when he was announcing, he announced Pete Hegseth first, then he announced Tulsi Gabbard, then he announced Matt Gaetz, and Matt Gaetz took all the heat off of Pete Hegseth on all the socials when it came to the left and all the leftists who were just going bananas. And even The View, like the cackling hens on The View, or as Mark Levin calls them, the yentas on The View, which, by the way, that's not exactly a nice word. But we're going after Pete Hegseth because they view him in particular, Pete, as being just a Fox News host. They don't realize, and a lot of the leftists don't seem to realize, that Pete Hegseth is actually a 20-year combat Army veteran, Army officer veteran. And by combat, I mean he served in combat both in Iraq, Afghanistan, and a couple other places. The guy is a military individual. And so the first things that were coming out is like, oh my gosh, you have a civilian in charge of the Secretary of Defense. Yeah, he was a 20-year combat veteran, earned the Bronze Star twice for valor. And so it's like he's a decorated veteran. You guys are just complete morons. So honestly, so far right now, oh, and I also can't forget, thank you, US Abby girl, tell me this too. 2 Ivy League degrees as well. He's got one from Princeton and one from Harvard, I think. Anyway, so yeah, that's they attacked him immediately, and it's like, guys, sorry, but just as typical as the left is, they attacked without any kind of depth of information. Most of these leftists, unfortunately, they do things like they only want the surface level. They don't care about any depth in the information process. And that's one of the reasons why it's so easy to necessarily disarm these people. And I do it all the time on the socials because they just don't understand the full depth of what's going on here. Marco Rubio has been kind of tossed around and played with for a while. He was actually leaked a couple of days ago when the first one started coming out. And realistically, I mean, he sat on the Committee of Foreign Affairs, I believe the Foreign Affairs Committee. He was the Foreign Affairs chair. So it's not like he's, it's not like he is a novice when it comes to this stuff. Plus, too, he's also very kind of moderate when it comes to most of the people. He's not like a outlier in the Republican Party when it comes to working with other people across the aisle. And by across the aisle, I mean with the moron Democrats. So he does have that advantage toward him. Tulsi Gabbard, I'll be honest, I'm a bit concerned. Her switch from the Democrat Party to the Republican Party, I'm a little bit nervous about. But that being said, she is fairly intelligent. She is a combat veteran, or not combat veteran, but she is a veteran. And I think that she is, I think she may work out to be a good pick to be the DNI, the Director of National Intelligence. Matt Gaetz, obviously everybody is up in arms about Gaetz because of the false accusations that he's been having to deal with. My wife likes him, though, which actually tells me that that's probably a pretty good pick. And not to mention the fact that the left went totally. I mean, it's almost as bad as like Trump getting elected. Their breakdown on the socials was just like, oh my gosh, it just, whew. So yeah, Coco DeWhiskey is like, oh, cool, you have it in picture form. Just so you know, this is going to be an ongoing thing from the Epic Times. Okay. So, as he fills the positions or announces the positions to be filled, you can come back and do a checkup in a short while after the announcement comes out, and they'll update that. And the reason why I know this is because originally this morning it was 8 out of 27. And then they added, Kristi Noem, Marco Rubio, Tulsi Gabbard, and Matt Gaetz. So yeah. Yeah, all of those allegations and stuff were baseless allegations. They were trying to get Matt Gaetz for something. I mean, just like with the lawfare with Trump, which, by the way, too, speaking of that, just as a side note, Judge Merchan has actually postponed all dates, including the sentencing date that the left has been like freaking out about and saying that he's going to be sentenced and sent to jail. They actually have he's postponed all that. So chances are what's going to happen is he's probably going to dismiss the charges. Yeah, I mean, seriously, he's got to consider the information, the evidence, whether or not the evidence came from privileged information that is now considered part of the presidential immunity that came down from the U.S. Supreme Court. You know, he's got a lot of things to deal with, and not to mention the fact that he's also got to consider what this would look like on his record if he were just to do something like this, when before it looked like it would be a really cool deal to do. Now it might not look so hot, considering the direction that the nation has gone in. So yeah, I would highly recommend grabbing this link out of the show description. It's in the video description on all of my outlets, and you'll be able to watch it. You can refresh it and be able to pick up all of the ones that come in with that. So anyway, so one thing that Trump, I'm going to say this, one thing that I found that Trump has had an incredible influence on was during his first term, he created the moniker fake news. And he bypassed the news media, which is part of the reason why they hated him on X, which back then it was called Twitter, because he was able to bypass the news media and go direct to the public. Now, one thing that I have to admit, for somebody of his age, he very effectively utilized newer technology in order to eliminate the possibility that other people could go and say, massage or censor his words and his points. And so, oh, yes, definitely not Karen points this out, which I keep pointing out all the time. He says, remember, folks, in New York, you are not convicted until sentencing. So if Judge Jackass throws the case out, Trump is not a convicted felon. And then he continues on, what will the lefties do in that case? You know, that's a point that I've pointed out to a bunch of left morons on X who have all said he is a rapist and a convicted felon. That seems to be the common connection, which he's not a rapist. He's never been adjudicated in a criminal trial of rape. He's not, you know, honestly, he's never even stood on trial for rape. Also, too, he's never been found liable for rape either, regardless of what the left want to say. And so, yeah, it's just like, whatever. So these guys are just, yeah, they're just a pain in the ass, really. And they're going to be a pain in the ass. Honestly, I've been watching them melt down again over the whole Pete Hegseth. And then the next thing was, you know, Tulsi Gabbard. And then the next thing was Matt Gaetz. I don't even think they really have had a time to breathe since Donald Trump's been releasing these people, you know, these nominations on Truth. He seems to be doing like a group of them at a time. And like Dan Bongino points out, it's sort of like Rock'em Sock'em Robots. He hits them with the left, and then all of a sudden, a few hours later, he hits them with the right, and then he hits them with the left, and then a right, and then a left, and blah, blah, blah. And I don't even know if I got the right hands going here. But still, the point being is that the left doesn't even know what to do. They're like spinning in circles, trying to figure out which one of these is the worst of the potential, you know, nominations. And so they're just going nuts. And the other fact that I personally think is really, even though I don't necessarily agree with every single one of his appointments, okay? The key here, though, is that he is picking people that are, He's basically picking people that are going to support his vision for America. In particular, a lot of his foreign policy vision, which is essentially peace through strength, peace through muscle. I'm going to kick your ass if you step out of line. Okay? And that essentially is his policy across the board. Not to mention the fact that a lot of these people are going to have their hands full trying to clean up all of the crap that's going on and has gone on in the government for a very, very long time. But one part of the leftist Democrat moronic machine, propagandists that have been out there, which again, as I was pointing out and alluding to earlier, that Trump really had did a great job in his first term, was the disarmament of the mainstream media. Well, apparently, this time around, even though they made their bones from 2017 to 2020 by following him around and getting quotes and putting on little snippets and things like that of him, apparently this time around the public has decided that they are done with this. So take a look at this in the Populist. Trump's victory crashes CNN, MSNBC, and other legacy media ratings. Oh, yeah. So here's a couple of examples, by the way. So the obviously the highly coveted demographic, according to the piece here, is 25 to 54-year-olds. I happen to be on the upper end of that demographic. But in that particular case, Fox News seems to be making a little bit of a comeback. Fox News picked up 375,000 viewers, while MSNBC, or MSLSD, if you listen to Mark Levin, and CNN attracted a paltry 71,000 and 91,000. That is, wow, well over like 200, and I'm going to say 290 over CNN, and 304 over MSNBC. Now, CNN's and MSNBC's appalling ratings, according to the piece here, also represent a steady annual decline in their popularity. Within the last 12 months, MSNBC's popularity has fallen by 23%, while CNN's has tanked. Yes, I said it, tanked by 40%. Interestingly enough, Fox News has recorded a 60% increase in popularity during the exact same period. Now, on election night, Fox News apparently attracted an average of 10.3 million viewers between 8 to 11, while MSNBC and CNN reached 6 million and 5.1 million. So that's almost double on both of them. Post-election, Fox News averaged 4.4 million on NBC, reached only 808,000, and CNN performed even more horrible with only 611,000. Folks, we could be seeing the end of the mainstream media era. And I got to tell you, this isn't driven by us because, I mean, let's be honest, after 2020 and the debacle that happened in 2020, I know many of us swore off of watching cable news networks. This is the left eating their own. People, this is the left who normally focuses on MSNBC, aka MSLSD, and the Communist News Network, aka CNN, for all of their news. I'm seeing signs from the socials, from regular average Democrat morons who are running around, idiots really, who have been regurgitating all of these finer points, who are all saying, I'm done with watching the mainstream media. Folks, they've lost even their sycophantic Kool-Aid drinking followers. They've lost those too. And so this is, I got to tell you, I mean, once again, Trump is making things happen in a glorious way. In fact, apparently CNN has gotten so bad CNN in particular. First of all, I've been hearing rumors, although none of them are confirmed, but I've been hearing rumors that MSNBC, otherwise known as MSLSD, is potentially on the chopping block to be sold. But CNN in particular has lost the son of a longtime individual. Yes, Chris Wallace is leaving CNN now. So former Fox News anchor Chris Wallace, a longtime Sunday news show fixture and debate moderator, is out of a job after he disclosed Monday that he is leaving CNN after a short 3-year tenure. Wallace, who is 77, made headlines when he left Fox News in 2021 for its rival CNN and a new streaming service that collapsed. That was CNN Plus, that collapsed just 1 month off operation. He told the Daily Beast on Monday he doesn't have a job lined up, but will look for something potentially in podcasting or streaming television. Yeah, I don't think he's going to go anywhere with that. I mean, could you imagine Chris Wallace having a podcasting show like this one? Anyway, not that I'm looking for him to take my place. But anyway, he says, this is the first time in 55 years that I've been between jobs. I'm actually excited and liberated by that. And in a statement to The Hill late Monday, CNN CEO Mark Thompson praised Wallace as one of the most respected journalists, political journalists in the news business, with a unique track record across radio, print, broadcast television, cable news, and streaming. Guess what? I disagree, CNN CEO Mark Thompson. I think Mark Levin or Sean Hannity or even Tucker Carlson could bury that guy. So anyway, I think Wallace's father is kind of like rolling over in his grave. That's Mike Wallace, by the way, for those that don't know. Well, it looks like Wallace is not going to be the only one, to be honest with you. According to DailyMail.com, CNN will axe top stars in layoffs that seek hundreds fired as ratings continue to tank. I don't know where they got this, but I can tell you that CNN, according to the piece, CNN is planning to wield the axe on some of its high-paid staff after dismal election ratings that cap off a disastrous period for the cable news network, according to an explosive new report from Puck. Network executives will unleash sweeping layoffs in a bid to save the network's failing reputation. All of this, of course, is taking off, and because it comes after the departure of Chris Wallace, and amid the reports that senior stars like Wolf Blitzer and Jake Tapper have both been denied raises. Now, there's no mention of who is on the chopping block. So listen to this, people. Listen to this. According to the piece, Anderson Cooper rakes in a $20 million a year contract. Aaron Burnett gets $6 million, and rising star Caitlin Collins $3 million. Seriously? You mean to tell me that Anderson Cooper honestly is more entertaining than, I don't know, say Dan Bongino or Mark Levin or, wow, even me? I mean, anyway. Could you imagine? I just thought about this. Could you imagine if MSNBC actually folded and Joy Reid and Rachel Maddow, Russia Rachel, actually got gone? They were not part of the sale. Wow. We could actually wake up and not hear Joyless Reid's, any of Joyless Reid's racist and homophobic slurring rants. And we certainly wouldn't have to listen to Rachel Russia Maddow in her stuff. Man, I could just see that. That would be awesome. So reporter Dylan Byers wrote Friday, referencing CNN's recent 100-person layoff seen over the summer. In the next few months, I'm told, CNN will implement another round of layoffs that will impact hundreds of employees across the organization. Now, wait a minute. Didn't they just hire back the potato, Brian Stelter? I can't remember if he's on CNN or if he's on something else. But anyway. All right. Yeah. So this, I got to be honest with you. Again, I think that he honestly, meaning Donald Trump killed the mainstream media. If you're not, most people, honestly, they've done surveys on this. Most people honestly get their news and information from conservative talk radio. In particular, Mark Levin was talking about it last night on his program. And, a lot of people don't understand the impact, realistically, the impact that people like Rush, in particular, and Sean Hannity and, Mark Levin, the impact that those folks have in terms of being on conservative radio, which is part of the reason why I'm really glad that eventually we're, TGRN's possibly going to pick up a conservative or set up a conservative talk radio. That would be awesome. I'm excited for that. But we got to get content, and that's the main thing. However, that is something that again, I honestly think that your podcasting, outlets like this, when you're talking about places like Rumble, I mean, did you see Rumble's earnings report? Rumble gained something like 20, almost 30% revenues in the third quarter last year. They are growing like gangbusters. And Rumble by itself, and then you also have, the other outlets too, places like X and places like even Facebook and, unfortunately YouTube too. But YouTube itself, it's starting to probably see, I'm going to guess, it's probably seeing its market share being eaten up by Rumble for certain. And yes, definitely not Karen. If we only knew a conservative talk host. Yeah. All right. Anyway. So it's not just in the mainstream media that things are going. I gotta tell you this. This is just fantastic. In terms of, and I did not put this in the show notes because I wasn't sure how long I was actually going to have, but apparently Mark Cuban, according to Town Hall, has scrubbed his X account of any pro-Harris content. I'm telling you, these people are leaving the Democrat Party in droves, or at least trying to eliminate their public profile to demonstrate that they were in the bed of the Democrats. So he, according to this report in Town Hall, he got to work scrubbing most of his political posts on X, including those that were supportive of Vice President Kamala Harris after the Democrat got trounced in last week's election. The cleanup began soon after the billionaire investor congratulated Donald Trump on his election victory early Wednesday morning. The X account Libs of TikTok was among the first to notice, prompting a response from Cuban, who admitted to clearing his history and said it's a practice that he has done for years after elections. He invited those interested to use Internet Archive sites like Wayback Machine to see the old posts. Yeah. Well, it's not just this kind of pushback too, folks. We also have pushback from other things. For an example, MAGA friendly, this in Hollywood in Toto, MAGA friendly McDonald and Lee Greenwood top the Billboard charts. So Tom McDonald, of course, is no stranger to the top of the Billboard charts. I mean, I was actually listening to one of his songs. Now, usually he does rap, but this particular song, and I can't remember the name of it right off the top of my head, but this particular song actually was a divestiture of his normal stuff, but it was pretty damn good. I got to be honest with you. And Lee Greenwood's music are kicking off, and it's just glorious. They have, according to the piece here, together they crashed the Billboard music charts just days after Donald Trump's stunning election victory. McDonald's teaming up with, yeah, this is it right here. Goodbye Joe. This is the song that I was watching. Teaming up with videographer and partner Nova Rockefeller snagged the top spot with Goodbye Joe. So if you get a chance to listen, I'm not going to play it now because I don't want to get some stupid ass copyright thing. But if you get a chance, go and check out Tom McDonald's Goodbye Joe. It's actually to me, it's a really good song. So it's just go and listen to Tom McDonald's Goodbye Joe. You can find it on YouTube for sure. And in fact, the song, according to the piece here, had 5.7 million YouTube views in 11 days. And it's McDonald's most politically outspoken song to date. So, yeah. Anyway, so go and check it out if you get the chance. So yeah, once again, that's Goodbye Joe by Tom McDonald featuring Nova Rockefeller. And you can check that out. All right. One last piece that I wanted to bring up here in the Bleeding Fool. The Bleeding Fool is talking about Hollywood, which again, this is another thing. I mean, once again, hey, you know that whole Avengers thing that they did, that Avengers ad? Yeah, all of that everybody pretty much got paid. Okay. Everybody pretty much got paid for that. But anyway, here there's blowback that's coming from people all over the place with regards to Hollywood and its woke, desire to put out woke content. And so, yeah, there's even like all of the wonderful celebrities that like went and endorsed Kamala Harris. Yeah, those guys really, yeah, it's all being gone. The pushback is, I'm just going to say it. The pushback is glorious. These next 2 years, should everything go the way that I think. And the reason why I'm saying 2 years is because, again, don't forget the midterms. But if these next 2 years go the way that I expect them to, the way that I anticipate that they will, the way that I'm hoping that they will, I think the midterms are going to come out pretty damn good for us. But anyway, all of these people who, shunned and told their supposedly their sycophantic followers. I mean, when does anybody listen to an actual like Hollywood celebrity and an actor in terms of their decisions when it comes to politics? And let's be honest, I don't think anybody really thinks about that or even wants to talk about that in particular. So, yeah. To have them sit on their gilded hills, which essentially is, the rich and elite, okay? The rich and elite and successful, they can't sit there and like talk down to us. That's the problem, is that they think that they know better just because they happen to be rich. And again, most of these people have made their money by reading lines on a script that was written for them in a movie somewhere. I mean, none of these people, save some, but none of these people realistically have, any kind of an outside, necessarily education. This is all that they've really known in a lot of places. And so, yeah, it's just one of those things. It's like, guys, just go away. Don't go away mad. Just go away. And especially any of the celebrity endorsements that, especially for like P. Diddy, man, that thing is going to explode probably after the election or after the inauguration. But yeah, apparently people are smart. They're getting smarter. They're not wanting any of these celebrities to necessarily dictate what they are going to do in terms of politics. I mean, again, if I wanted to be an actor, I would ask an actor. That's just the way it is. If I want to be an electrician, would I go to an actor who played an electrician? It's sort of like the whole, I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express once. I mean, That's the intelligent or halfway intelligent answer, is like, why would you necessarily listen to somebody who isn't an expert in that field? All right, folks, we have a new submission tonight for Pet of the Week. So let's go ahead and just get that started. And I got to figure out which one it is. Let's go ahead and get that started. All right, so for tonight's Pet of the Week, the newest submission here is by definitely not Karen's wife, I think. Anyway, I'm probably gonna get shot, or at least told who this is. But anyway, definitely not Karen's significant other. We'll just go with that. But anyway, so she submitted this about 2 weeks ago, and this has to deal with. Oh no, here it is. It's right there. Definitely not Karen's wife. All right. So here's what definitely not Karen's wife says. Hi, Rick. I hope this finds you well. Tonight was my first night in the chat on your show. So that was not too long ago when she showed up. I'm definitely not Karen's wife, which, by the way, she followed immediately afterward, and that was pretty cool. He previously sent in pics for our 2 shepherd and 4 cats. All right. So they now have a new addition. And he just turned 1. Oh, yes, not Karen's boss. Or not Karen boss. And he just turned 1 on October 20th. This is a... let me get over there, because I got to do this. It's going to get rid of that. Bring this up, and we'll put this in. Where is it? There it is. All right. This is a Mastiff Shepherd Retriever mix named Jasmine. Jasmine is super sweet, loving, and a pain in the ass at times. Yeah. Well, aren't they all? I mean, let's be honest. My wife and I always tease about Cleo, our indoor cat, and she is just a real nice kitty. Anyway, so welcome to the program, Mastiff Shepherd Retriever mix Jasmine. So Jasmine, apparently, like I said, is just 1 year old. Now, Mastiff, holy crap, that dog's going to get huge. I hope not. But anyway, here's, sorry. Here's Jasmine looking over what appears to be a couch. And we have Jasmine hanging out with what appears to be some sort of a large dog toy. And there's one of the shepherd's ears. They got the ear. Yeah. And then we have her. Oh, you can just read that face. What did I do? Oh, you should see the look that Angus gives whenever he gets his picture taken. Is she shy? I mean, definitely not. Karen's in the chat, so I'm going to ask, is she shy? Is she shy of getting her camera taken or her picture taken? Just I'm going to take a second, but, oh my gosh, Jarhead, really? Jarhead asks, is there such a thing as a Mastiff Chihuahua mix? Oh, wow. I don't even think. So not Karen's boss. Are you saying no to my question? Anyway, let's see. I don't know if I've gone through all of the photos. No, I haven't. So there she is back again. I did. This is the first one that you guys saw. So anyway, so there is definitely not Karen and not Karen's boss. Their newest addition to the family. And that is this week's Pet of the Week. Thank you very much for sharing Jasmine with us. We do appreciate it. You guys do know this is a fan favorite. And the only way that we can keep this fan favorite going is if you guys start sending in more photos. You got to send them to me. You know how you do that? You get on this little thing known as email, and in the to box, you type fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. That's fans at AmericanPerspective.online. And you can send me pictures, stories, give me, like particulars, give me name, give me breed if you know it. Any kind of story that goes along with it, you can do all of that by sending it, and then I'll put it in for Pet of the Week. So make sure you send those in. Again, send them to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. And yes, Tommy, I think I did, but I just haven't gotten to downloading them yet. You usually send them to me through Facebook Messenger, so it takes me a little bit more to pull those than it does to do the email, but that's okay. Not a problem. All right, folks, that is it for me for this evening. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account. It is free. Once signed into that account, then make sure that you search for the American Perspective channel, as well as make sure you hit that green follow button in order to make sure that you get notified every time I go live. Also, too, before you take off, I would really appreciate it if you would give me those thumbs up, likes, whatever they are. Put them up there in all of my outlets that are there, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, X, or, of course, Rumble, because as Jarhead says, Rumble rules. We will see you tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on American Perspective. Have a great rest of your evening, and good night, everybody.
The previous broadcast was produced and is owned by Active Eye Media LLC. All rights reserved.